everyone, Coach Tommy here live with another Smashing Plastic podcast. We have an awesome guest today. His name is Mike. I call him Magic Mike, and we're going to allow him to introduce himself to you and who he is and what he's about. And I'll hint at this. It has 3 letters, MLP. So, Mr. Mike, tell us who you are, and we'll let you take it from there.
Hey, Tommy. Thank you so much for having me on the show. This is amazing. Smashing Plastic. What's a better name for a pickleball podcast here? So, yes, I'm a serial entrepreneur, serial investor, pickleball advocate. Been playing, known about the sport for 8 years. Been playing competitively for 2 years. Have 7 gold medals and purchased a Major League Pickleball team alongside people that are much cooler than myself, like Lil Wayne, Scotty Scheffler, Micah Parsons. My partners, Evan and Ted. The Texas Ranchers are just an incredible experience. And so,
yeah, not to mention that you have a couple okay players on that team, don't you, Mike? Since people don't know who MLP is or who the Texas Ranchers may be, tell us a little bit about who's on that lineup of that beloved team that you got.
Well, we all know who Ben Johns is, right? And
Kinda.
Yeah, and let's just say that Christian Olsen and Kwang Dong have beaten Ben and his brother the last 3 times I think they played him. I think 2 times in MLP, which is Major League Pickleball. That's what we run. And then also in the PPA, which is also part of United Pickleball Association, which we also own a percentage of. So
Okay.
the PPA and the MLP united under United Pickleball Association several months ago.
Yeah, I don't know if you did, and you probably had a lot better of a view than I did, but I watched that last match, that championship match between Kwang, Christian Alshon, and the Johns brothers, and oh my Lanta, that is another level of smashing plastic like I have ever seen in my life. Those guys are animals. Your team is stacked. I think you got one of the best logos there is in all of MLP. I'm a huge brand guy, as everybody knows. I think you've got some great swag, some great team players. And on that note, I want everybody to know how I met you and where you and I connected was actually at an MLP event in Atlanta. I had the privilege of meeting you there. We're sitting side by side watching these guys go at it. And before you know it, me and you strike up a conversation. We're talking pickleball with my buddy Jennings. And believe it or not, and people won't believe this, but you and I actually got a chance to play pickleball. We actually played pickleball at MLP in Atlanta, got a chance to kind of, beat each other up and then also team up, which was great. Can you tell the folks a little bit about, I would say, what is the goal of an MLP owner at this moment, and where do you see or where do you hope and envision MLP going to?
Wow. Okay, a couple questions there. So I'll take the goal of an MLP owner. So the goal of the MLP owner, one, is to build the best team.
Okay.
And, we do rely on our GM and Evan and Ted to kind of make that possible. You have to raise money for that.
Sure.
And you have to have people that really know what they're doing in pickleball, studying the trends, the statistics of all the top pickleball players in the world. And we didn't start off with Kwang Dong, but we did some ninja moves to get Kwang Dong. And
Right.
and honestly it was a risk too, because Kwang Dong is 18 years old, and
Sure.
he only beat Ben Johns once or twice in singles. And it was still a big question mark because he also lost more than he won, right?
Sure.
So as many do, but Ben never loses, right? Just 1% of the time. So when we're going after a player like that, we're looking at hey, what is in the short-term future, the midterm, and the long-term? Can we build something super impactful for our team, with this person? And, so far a gamble with this trade and getting Kwang Dong has been amazing. Genius, not from me, from our GM. I believe his name is Ryan. Great job. And Evan and Ted, I'm sure, had a lot to do with it. So
I think you're absolutely one of the words that you say right now that I love because, as you know a little bit about my background, so I'm a baseball guy, I've coached every level you can imagine, played on every level. So I'm a team guy, and now all of a sudden, the last couple of years, I'm in pickleball. I love when you say the word team and pickleball. Like between you and I feel like it's the most it's the most logical way for our beloved sport to explode is when you have the ability to get behind teams. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, you
Yes.
and I both know Colin Johnson and his brother Ben are great, but how many weeks in a row do you really want to watch those two same guys continue to compete, you know what I mean, for a gold
Yeah.
medal? It gets mundane. I love the fact they're winning and I love the fact they're great picklers, and this is no offense to them, but as a team guy, I love the fact that you and I can, rally behind a team like the Ranchers. We're putting on hats, and you and I have been in MLP. Like you got, 100 or 200 people that are cheering for your team. Like it's really a unique angle for pickleball. And I personally, I don't know about you, Phil, but I feel like that's going to be the supercharger that takes this beloved sport to the next level that even tennis can't do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, pickleball had so much going for it without even the MLP. I mean, the fact that like any demographic can play this, a 5-year-old and a 99-year-old,
Sure.
someone who's out of shape and someone who's in shape, someone who's not athletic, someone who's athletic, like literally all walks of life can play pickleball. And to me, that's one of the most moving parts of pickleball and one of the reasons why I got so behind it so early on. And, I just said, okay, there's 8 billion people on this planet. This is the most fun sport I've ever played. And the most people statistically can actually play this sport. And it doesn't need much resources to play, a couple paddles, a ball, and a net. Wow, this is going to be big. And so, I started trying to get a Major League Pickleball team a couple of years ago, like right when it first started. And it was a battle and a journey. But anyway, what was the question you asked? Because I went on a tangent there.
No, I love it. I think me and you talked a little bit about how, like, you weren't able just to gobble up a team like you wanted, right? Like, you
Yeah,
tell us a little
no.
bit about. I mean, that was a battle, wasn't it?
Yeah. So this guy is Steve Kuhn. He was the original founder of Major League Pickleball.
Okay.
And this only started like 3 years ago. And I like before I think the first year. So I started pickleball 8 years ago. My mom showed me this sport, and she said, "Michael, come play pickleball at my 55 plus gated community." She was 70 at the time in Delray Beach, and I was like, "Mom, that sounds ridiculous. That name is just no." And she's like, "No, I really think you're gonna like it." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll go. It's my mom,
Right,
go
right.
hang out with mom." And I started playing it, and I was like, wow, I'm like, I got so much joy from like beating senior citizens at pickleball. I kind of feel like ashamed and dirty about it, It's
Right,
like I'm
right.
like, oh wow, this is great. And I never played a racket sport in my life. I have a basketball background, baseball, like, but didn't play any professional sports or in college. I played some high level intramural basketball with professional players, but that's as far as I got.
Sure.
And pickleball was like, for someone who never played a racket sport, never played tennis, racquetball, squash, none of that. I was having a great time. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, I thought you have to like, I tried tennis lessons before, and oh my God, tennis was like, man, you have to train for like 6 months to a year to be able to have like a basic rally game with tennis and like get a good
Sure.
serve or something. Like, if you didn't start at 4, you can never be a professional. Well, pickleball, ladies and gentlemen, you can start, when you're like whatever age you want, whatever
Sure.
athleticism you want, and you can have a great time. You can become really good actually, and you can compete. So this sport had me a while ago, but the problem was, no one heard of pickleball 8, 9 years ago. So there weren't many pickleball courts, like hardly any in the places I lived. I lived in like San Francisco, Palm Springs, Arizona, Vegas. At that time, there was like maybe like one court like 30 minutes away that I would go to like twice a year. And then I lived in Tulum, Mexico. There were no courts there. But then when I moved to Miami, after living there for a while, they built the Miami Beach Golf Club public courts. And I played almost like every other day for the past 2 years. And
Wow.
that's how I won like, 7 gold medals, worked my way up to like playing with 5-0s and pros sometimes. And,
Sure.
got excited enough. So the question was, how did I get the team back then? So Steve Kuhn was the founder. We hit them up. One of my previous investors, Ted, is friends with this guy named Evan in Austin, Texas, where Ted lives. And Evan's like, I want to get the team. He's like, I have some connections. I think I can get it from, Steve Kuhn. And then he promised us that we would get the Miami team because I have a big Miami network of pickleball players. I'm in like 20, 30 WhatsApp groups, tens of thousands of pickleball players. And I'm always throwing a tournament or leading something or whatever. And we're like, Miami team, Miami team, Miami team. And he's like, yes, 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 you have it. And we're like, great, great, great. Everyone, we have the Miami team. Yay, yay, yay. And so one day in one of the WhatsApp groups, we've been asking Steve Kuhn for an agreement for like 6 months. And we're trying to close major celebrities for the pickleball team.
Sure.
And then one day, we're literally talking to Pitbull, Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, some of the biggest names in the world. And we got this, some guy messaged me in a WhatsApp group that I'm in. He's like, you don't own the Miami pickleball team. I do. And I'm like, no, I do. And he's like, no, I do. And I'm like, no, I do. And I'm like, and actually, no, it was like some guy said that this other guy owned it. And I was like, no, I do. So I was like, put me in touch with this guy. I'm going to have a phone call with him right now. And like, I'll settle this matter. So I get on the phone with the guy's from like Los Angeles. And he's like, yeah, we have the Miami pickleball team. We signed the docs this week. And, we're wiring like tomorrow. And I'm like, what? And we've been asking for the docs for like 6 months. And basically what this guy did is he sold for us. He promised us the team for a very low amount of money, like about $1 million at that time. And then he ended up selling it for 3 to these guys and not giving us the option. Didn't even tell us.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
And so the team got swept right under the rug after we had been working for 6 months talking to the biggest names in the world to join the team. And at that point, we contacted him. We contacted the owners of this new team. We're like, hey, can we get in here? And basically, they were both like, no. And we're like, oh, shit, this is terrible. And like imagine working on something you love so much for like 6 months. And like, I'm ready to bring Major League Pickleball to like the masses, and I'm ready to like have this pickleball team and like get crazy with it. And I'm just like, and then you don't even have it. You've been like lied to for like 6 months, and like, it was terrible. So what happened was, this is where all the credit, I give credit where credit's due. And Evan and Ted saved the day. So initially, they told me all the time, and my friends that were brand ambassadors, that we had the team. They told me time and time and time and time again, we had the team. So obviously we didn't have the team.
Right.
And so Evan was like, all right, I'm not giving up. He's like, I'm getting a Major League Pickleball team. And what actually happened might have been a blessing in disguise, because what they did was they found one of the first Major League Pickleball teams, which is the Texas Ranchers, owned by Tim Klitsch.
Okay.
And we ended up buying 70% from him. And the Texas Ranchers, the enterprise, actually owned the highest ownership percentage that any team has of Major League Pickleball, and also Duper. So with our investment, we ended up getting the Texas Ranchers through Tim Klitsch. we have the highest ownership of the Major League Pickleball, the United Pickleball Association, and Duper than anyone.
Wow.
So I believe this is going to be a multi-billion-dollar industry. Of course, any team has the ability to become a billion-dollar team.
Sure.
Like the New York Yankees, like Los Angeles Lakers, like, you can build a team to the top. And Austin is one of those top cities in America that, Apple's setting up home bases, and all these different companies like are moving to Austin. It's a tech hub that's blowing up. They have South by Southwest, all this stuff. So I think it's a great location. I miss out on all the fun parties that the Texas ranchers throw all the time.
Right.
So jealous. Right. But they're doing an excellent job. Like, we have the best social media out of any team. We have probably the most structured owners group out of any team. Like, we have a full-time ops girl that takes care of all the stuff. We have a full-time GM. We have Evans, the CEO, and Ted is the COO maybe, and they're running this thing amazingly.
Yeah, and you're headquartered, like you said, in Austin, which is a pickleball crazy town, right? Like, you guys have a lot of pickleball in Austin. If I'm not mistaken, I think you guys have a lot happening there in that world. So
dive into the world of smashing plastic pickleball, where it's more than just gear, it's an experience. Discover incredible events meticulously planned for you and top-notch coaching by certified PPR professionals. Smashing Plastic Pickleball, not just a brand, but a community that elevates your game and passion. Come join the excitement today. Visit our events, experience top-tier coaching, and be a part of something extraordinary at Smashing Plastic Pickleball.
I mean, you guys could take over the town with that team practically.
Oh, they have, trust me. They have they built the first rooftop outdoor pickleball courts there. They're called the Ranch or something. It's amazing. They're launching a pickleball paddle company. They're doing all this stuff underneath the umbrella in which we invested in to help grow pickleball.
Yeah, I love it. Where do you, as a owner, where do you see, and this is a question just for me because as you know, I'm a huge advocate for MLP. I like it more than any other platform right now on pickleball. Where do you see other cities and teams and expansions and that kind of stuff? As an owner, is that something that is already on the horizon that's being talked about?
Yeah, I mean, we've actually, the league has expanded. So the league was, I don't know the exact number of teams, but sure. right now, I think it was 10 or 12. And now the Premier League has 12 teams, but there's a whole other Challenger League that has 10. So we basically I think close to double to 22 total teams in Major League Pickleball. There's a Premier League and a Challenger League. The Challenger League is almost like the Farm League, or it's just one notch down from the Premier League. And the Ranchers are in the Premier League. We're fluctuating between number 2 and number 3 this year. We have such an amazing young team. And then we have excellent, I think I mentioned before, Christian Olsen, Kwang Dong, and Tina Pisnik and Etta Wright. Tina and Etta were such kind of sleepers in the draft, and we got so lucky to get them. They've just been doing amazingly. People always talk about Anna Lee Waters, Anna Bright, but it's these ladies have been kicking some butt for us.
Right.
Our ladies are tough, man.
Yeah, they're dogs. I've watched a lot of MLP, and you're right. Your ladies are. I mean, don't get me wrong. Your guys are two of the top guys in the world.
Yeah.
But those ladies, because you and I both know that's one of the beautiful things that I like about the MLP format is the girls matter, right? They really matter. You know what I mean? The mix matters, and so does the drink breakers, right? That really matters.
Yeah, it's such an interesting overall chemistry the MLP has made, overall structure. It's you get 4 people, 2 guys, 2 girls, and you play, men's, women's, and then mixed one, and then mixed two. So like kind of every combination. And then in MLP, as the viewers may or may not know, when you play another team, if you win two of those and the other team wins two of those, you're forced into what's called a dream breaker. And the dream breakers are like so exciting, so cool. Like I can't even believe like they thought of this. It's so cool. Like you play singles, but only for 4 points total for each person versus each person. So all of a sudden you just play doubles the whole time. And then now your players have to play singles, which is like a totally different game, but only for 4 points, and anything can happen for 4 points. Like I've seen Ben Johns lose all 4 points in a row because it's only 4 points. You know, Ben Johns may come back and win a 21-point game or an 11-point game, but 4 points, he can lose 4 points easily. So yeah, go on, dude.
I think one of the coolest things about it, though, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you don't have to line up man on man or girl on girl. Like you can choose whoever you want to compete against that other person. So it's really cool to be able to see a Ben Johns go against, an Anna Bright or whatever. Like, and that can happen in the Dream Breakers on MLP.
Yeah, it's amazing because the Dream Breakers, you have these 4 point slots, and you have a rotation of your whole team. So every single person has to play the singles, and you just keep going until whoever hits 21 first. And
I love it. I'm like you. I think at the end of the day, like we're going to be talking about this. Hopefully I'll have you again, a year from now, and you and I are just going to smile on how much this thing has just taken over, because it's like you're in such an infancy journey time as an owner of something that really, it's like a jet ski, right? Like you guys can turn the wheel really quick on a lot of different things. It's not like MLB, if we want to change the rule in Major League Baseball, it takes a 3-year process to even entertain it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's so many things to think about.
Almost event from event right now, it seems like. You guys have a lot of opportunity to make things better, which is really cool, because I think you guys are making some great strides with MLP to not just make it entertaining, but you're learning so many different facets of like trades and when not to trade and how all of those stuff, right? That you guys are still all kind of figuring out as you go through this thing.
Yep. I mean, even the scoring this year, we changed the scoring to 25. We have a rally scoring system, versus PPA and most traditional pickleball. They don't do rally scoring.
Right.
I personally, my first rally scoring tournament that I played, I hated it. And that tournament, I did terrible because you're not used to rally scoring, and then it just messes with your brain. And it totally screwed me up. And then the next one I played, I still didn't like it. But then the third time I played, which I think was at Major League Pickleball, just on the outskirt courts where, like you and I played and stuff.
Yeah.
I played rally scoring to honor our Major League Pickleball system.
Sure.
And you know what? I fell in love with it. It's actually so much better. It's like you only have to remember two numbers. Number one, your score and their score.
Correct.
Traditional, you always have to learn 3. And that's the hardest part of pickleball for anyone joining the sport, is they have to learn the scoring. And the scoring is crazy. So you only have to remember 2. It's so simple.
You're absolutely right. Like as a coach, that's one of the biggest pain points that I encounter, Mike, is like literally just teaching people how to keep up with the numbers, right? Rally scoring is so simple, and it makes everybody not intimidated about knowing what they're doing when it comes to the score.
Oh my God, I love it. And when you have the odd score, you're serving from the odd side. Like it's so simple. And then you don't even swap your sides anymore. You could swap at 11 if you want, but you just stay on the left or right. There's no need to do like stacking and all this stuff. Like, dude, it's so much better.
I agree. I concur 1,000%. And even like with your public courts, because you and I both know the game is growing, and that'll be the next segment that I talk to you about. But when you go to these courts now that they've got paddle stacked, 4 deep with 3 people standing around for 35 minutes because they're doing traditional side out scoring. Dude, one game can go 45 minutes. You're not going to do that in a rally scoring game. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen.
Yeah, there's actually that's a great point. One of the reasons why MLP does it is because they're priming themselves for national television. Some of these games are on ESPN, Fox, Major League Pickleball is making some big waves, and you can't have, like you said, some traditional side out scoring where a game can end in 12 minutes or 45 minutes. When are your commercials going to happen? Like, when is stuff going to happen? You know,
It's so true.
if you have a game to 21, think about this logically and mathematically, and you do rally scoring, there's only a possibility of 20 plus 21, which is 41 possible times you can play.
Correct.
That's it. With side out scoring, it's infinite. You could have 90, you could have 100, you could have 200. So,
You're exactly right.
So there's only a maximum of 41 times. So I run mini tournaments. Actually, one of them, I live in Brickell. We call it Brickell Pickle. We do it every Sunday night, and we have rally scoring. And the reason why is there's 2 courts, and there's usually 8 players. And when we finish, we rotate the people, and the game's got to end somewhat at the same time, right? Well, they end within like 1 or 2 minutes every single time. It's beautiful. So,
yeah, if you're going to do a tournament, or if you're a tournament director, and maybe this is coach's tip of the day, but if you're literally going to look to do a tournament, I got to tell you, if you're not entertaining rally scoring, you are slitting your own wrist for that tournament, just because of the simple fact of time. I mean, legitimately, time is our greatest commodity. And if you want a 3-hour match or a 13-minute match, which one do you think you're going to choose? You know what I mean? So that you can make sure everybody gets the best value for their buck. You know what I mean? I love rally scoring, and I definitely feel like it's the wave of the future of what most pickleball courts are probably going to have to end up going to, just because of how many people are on these courts.
Yeah, when there's paddles stacked up, it just sucks.
Yeah, I agree, and that's gonna be what I ended with you. Is where do you think, Mr. Magic Mike, the owner of Texas Ranchers, what do we do as a coach, myself, or as the general public? What do we keep doing to grow the game? What are some tips from you that you think, or that you guys see, that we keep doing in order to grow this game?
It's just gonna grow naturally and organically no matter what. People love this thing. Like, people love it. I love it. You love it. I've seen, children, women, men, old people, seniors, everybody get addicted to this sport. Like, literally addicted. People have like quit their jobs and come in late,
Right.
and it's crazy. So I think there's like nothing we can do to really stop it, actually. I think it's going to keep growing. And I think the best thing, anyone could do is, you're a professional coach. I don't coach people, but every now and then I just kind of do what I consider like some charity work. And like, I'll get 3 people that have never played, and I'll teach them how to play. But you know what I do? This is a really good tip for all listeners, all the coaches, everyone. Before I do that, before I quote unquote show them how to play, I make them watch YouTube videos and learn how to play and learn the scoring before I teach them how to play. Why?
Gotcha.
Because when they come to the court, they have so much more fun this way. If you're literally teaching them how to do the scoring and the very basics your first day, it's like, ripping your hair out of your head, kind of like overwhelming.
Yep.
It's not as fun for anyone. So my one tip for everybody to take away, because everybody that plays pickleball occasionally teaches new people, everybody that, is new that wants to play, my advice, watch a couple YouTube videos on how to play pickleball and learn the scoring. If you get the basics of both of those and come to the court, someone like Tommy or myself or anybody, you'll have so much better time.
I love it. I think you're absolutely spot on, and it goes without saying that, one of the questions I get all the time is, is pickleball here to stay? Is it a trend, this, that, and the other? All you have to do is just go down and look at some of these local courts, and just the diversity alone will tell you that it's in every age category, it's in every ethnicity, it's in every weight class. If people are playing pickleball, it's definitely here to stay. So you've got to be an ambassador, no matter who or where you are, to just help grow the game, which most importantly nowadays, I think you would agree, is just be kind and welcoming and have some fun with a plastic ball. You know what I mean? Like Lordy did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude, I cannot thank you enough. It's been absolutely awesome. Before we depart, I want people to know how to find you. Can you give us a little bit of your handles and where you're at, so that if we're out and about and we want to go check out Magic Mike, how do we find you, man?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna do that, and I'm also gonna give a plug for something new that I was working on before you got on the call. I was telling your partner. So you guys can all find me by, like, I don't know, searching my name on Instagram. My handle is MDADK, just 5 letters. MDADK. It just stands for my initials, Michael David Allen David Krilivsky. And what I want to kind of plug is, I'm selling my tech company now, and I wanted to start something new that was fun, philanthropic, and in health and wellness. And so I'm proud to announce that my latest project, that you can also find me on Instagram and everywhere else, is called Pups and Chill. I'm combining animals, puppies, with, I've been hosting these rejuvenation nights for years with cold plunges, massage therapy, stretch therapy, compression legs, like sponsors like Equinox and Sprouts and Healthy Foods and Healthy Supplements. And I'm making basically like this event festival. It's right now, it's starting in Miami. It's called Miami's #1 health, wellness, and animal advocacy event. We're going to have puppy yoga, puppy Pilates. When I tried this stuff out and all these like little dogs ran around and jumped all over me and licked my face, I was like, this is the best thing ever. And and then I found out originally that was the mission of bringing the dogs, was twofold. One, it was to have this rejuvenation, healthy feeling with the dogs, like release oxytocin and serotonin in your brain. And then 2, these dogs are from shelters. And so the mission is to help these animals find permanent homes, or get donation money from our tickets sold at our events to go to the shelters so they can help pay for the medicine, the food, and extend the life of these animals. You know, so many shelters have too many animals, and they have to actually put them down. Like these amazing looking puppies and dogs and everything, they have to put them down. And I was like so mortified when I kind of dug into that and was like, oh God, this stinks. So launching Pups and Chill, our debut event is September 8th here in Miami. Proceeds go to help these animal shelters. It's going to be Miami's #1 health and wellness and animal advocacy event.
Wow. I love it. I love you, man. I cannot thank you enough for all that you do. I can't wait to bump into you again, you know, and see how these ranchers are doing. You guys are kicking butt and taking names, and goodness gracious, man, you have got an awesome team. And I know everybody on this podcast is going to be pulling for the ranchers, man, to keep on doing what you guys are doing, man.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Pupsandchill.com is the URL for Pups and Chill, Pups and Chill. And yeah, find me on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever. And the ranchers are going to the top, baby. Follow us there, dude. Too.
You guys are killing it. All right, Coach Mike. We'll see you in Magic Mike. See you, buddy.
All right, see you, buddy. Bye.
See you, dude.